Hello and welcome to the F1 Esports Pro Championship. It is round one of a brand new season and we are very excited, as I'm sure you are, to get the racing underway. However, there is a very sombre atmosphere here in London following the passing last week of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. So we would like to take a moment to pay our respects on behalf of all of the teams and everyone involved in the F1 Pro Championship during this period of national mourning. Well then, tonight we head to Bahrain, to the Sakir circuit, and I'm glad to say that I will not be doing the show all by myself. We welcome back a legend of the show, the one and only Mr. Nick Hamilton. Great to see you.
Hey, Tom.
Part of the family, we're all back together at the moment. I've got to ask, what have you been doing since I last saw you, Nick?
Me, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a bit of racing, a bit of public speaking, yeah, trying to spread my positive message globally, if possible, around my condition, but it's good to be back here at a desk job with you, Tom.
Oh, okay. I don't look at this as a desk job. It's more than just a desk job. If I told everybody I just do a desk job. But listen, that positive vibe is back again. You've got 20 drivers ready to get onto that circuit tonight to race and to prove why they're the best of the best. Are you looking forward to having that racing action back?
Yeah, exactly. It's a brand new team, brand new game, some new faces, but also faces that we've seen for multiple years now. So it's almost, because it's a new game, everyone has to reset almost. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes to the top. But yeah, I'm super excited to get the first round underway.
A new game, but also a new format. Now, I am looking forward to this because we will have 4 events. Each team is made up of 3 drivers and we'll have 3 races across those events. So 12 races in total, 10 teams, plus, that is the bit there, 50% race distance. So if you like the racing as the action bit of the night, guess what is coming up? 50% of that race distance. And also a few other changes that you can expect. 2 different tyre compounds required in each race. Dynamic weather is set, equal car performance, and damage is on. So Nick, what do you take from that? 50% race distance, their mentality is going to have to be 100%.
Yeah, without a doubt. And obviously, they've got to drive for a longer period of time now. So there's a lot of strategy involved, but trying to stay as consistent as possible, as focused as possible as well, with, 19 other cars, if you're leading, of course, breathing down your neck. With the F1 Esports, it's super, super close. So one mistake can be very, very costly. But yeah, I think everybody wanted to see longer races because they're so great. So it's great to see a 50% race.
Yeah, there's pretty much like a thousandths or 2,000ths of a second difference between these drivers. It is closer in the field. So does that 50% distance now affect certain drivers? I mean, who is this going to favour?
I wouldn't say it's going to favour or hinder anybody in particular. I think everybody's just as good as each other when it comes to the consistency. That's what we see in F1 Esports. Actually, I would say F1 Esports drivers make less mistakes on the game than you do see in real life. So I think it's going to make the racing even closer. Hopefully we don't get any DRS trains. Obviously we will do it at some stage. But 50% race, I think, benefits everybody.
Yeah, I mentioned already that we are heading to Bahrain for our first race on the calendar. Let's have a look at that calendar. We lose 2 races from last season, China and Portugal, but we do gain Japan and right there in round 12, Yas Marina, Abu Dhabi. What do you make of that, Nick?
Well, I think it's great to see Suzuka on the calendar. What a fantastic circuit it is, with a lot of heritage, lots of experience going on there from loads of different drivers throughout the years of Formula One. So that's great to see, and obviously Yas Marina is a fantastic fantastic spectacle for the end of the season, both in real-life Formula One and it looks like at round 12 here.
OK, so that is the calendar. Those are all the changes. Let's have a little reminder of how good 2021 was, Nick. And you've got to start with the champ, Jarno Opmeer. He was just a different class. I mean, yes, he was pushed by Freddie Rasmussen and Lucas Blakely, but the win at China, the tyre strategy, we've just mentioned that a second ago, that consistency, he had it all.
Yeah, he did, especially with that race at China. He did a fantastic job there and, really stamping his authority here in Mexico. And, it's all about the consistency and getting the points on the board. And he's a driver that's pretty much got the full package. He's got everything it takes in terms of strategy and raw pace as well.
Yeah, back-to-back champion. Can he make it a third? Also, the strategy to let Freddie overtake him so he could do in the DRS. So that tactical nous is there from Jarno. However, he's going to need to be backed up by a brilliant teammate. He's got Danny Moreno. They won the team championship, and it's so important to have that team driver to back you up.
Yeah, Danny Moreno is a great team player. I probably wouldn't want him to, he probably doesn't want me to say he's a team player as such because he wants to, be leading the team. But on his day, he's very, very difficult to beat. And obviously Mercedes have a great foundation behind them as a team as well. I've been to their facilities there at Brackley, and they've got a team of people behind them which are great with strategy as well. So it's not just the drivers that are doing a fantastic job, it's the whole team together.
Yeah, and they've got a new rookie driver joining him who's electric, so quick, Jake Benham, which we'll talk about in a bit, no doubt. However, those were the winners from last season, team and driver. Who are the challenges? You've got to say it's Freddie Rasmussen. He is so dominant year after year, racking up 10 wins, more than any other F1 Esports driver. Can he do it this year, Nick?
I really hope so, because he's been the nearly man, hasn't he, for a number of years now. He's such a fantastic driver. He doesn't show much emotion. No, he puts it all into his motorsport, all into his racing, and he does a fantastic job. So hopefully, I still can't get over how close he sits to the screen. I don't know how his eyes can deal with that, but generally, he's absolutely amazing. It'd be great to see him further up the field and hopefully, maybe take home that title.
You don't know how he deals with it, but hopefully deal with it he does for this season. It always has a slow start to event one. Will that happen this time round? Hopefully not. However, a driver that had a rapid start was Lucas Blakely last year, getting his maiden win at Bahrain.
Yeah, he did. And this is, I would say, the start of Lucas Blakely 2.0. This is where he really became an F1 Esports Pro Championship driver and winner. You can see how much it meant to him. And I would say this, it's probably one of the most dominant race performances I've seen in Portugal, Algarve, doing a fantastic job. His second win, and doing a fantastic job all year. It was just towards the end of the season, maybe the last 3 races or so, he started to fall off slightly. But he still ended up P3 in the series, in the championship, and let's hope he can improve on that for this year as well.
Yeah, it was the kind of setbacks he dealt with throughout the season. He's one of 17 changes to the team lineups this season, and it has been all change for him. But luckily, I was able to catch up with Lucas to ask him all about those changes. So, leaving Aston Martin, left on a high, which is great. You moved to McLaren. First question really is, Lucas, will you look good in the McLaren colours?
I think so. I definitely think so. Massively excited to begin what really feels like a new start, a new chapter. In the past, I feel like if I really wanted something, I really needed to push hard within myself to achieve that. But to have like-minded individuals, surrounding you, sharing that energy, you can achieve great things on your own, but with a team around you that have got the same motivated goal and really want to help you push that envelope further. It's what will make the difference between winning and not winning a championship.
You've had time to process it. What are your thoughts on that 2021 season going into this season?
It's been good. I've had the chance to reflect a bit now, and I would say overall I'm not, let's say, dissatisfied with how everything sort of turned out. I mean, sure, I didn't win the championship, but naturally I feel like I achieved more things that were on my list, such as winning a race, getting more podiums, a pole position.
Here's the man who's the class of the field, Lucas Blakely's best day in F1 Esports. What a dominant drive from Lucas Blakely.
Ticking these things off the list, so and they're equally important as they're sort of the building foundations of mounting championship challenges, and the fact that I was even able to be in the fight all the way till the very nearly the very end was, yeah, very good.
Yeah, because I remember that Bahrain victory, what it meant to you, that passion that came through on the screen, everyone was watching. And then it was so close towards the end. Have you learnt from that?
The experience I sort of gained from that last season is, you know, invaluable. I mean, it's just so useful to be in that position where you can like learn firsthand sort of what you did right and wrong to get to that point, but also how to deal with the pressures and, you know, being in the championship fight for the first time, and I feel like I handled that pressure very well.
Very much in the driver's hunt, and he's going to look to the inside, then to the out. He's going to try and swing it all the way round the outside, and that is a brilliant move from Lucas Blakely.
People will be watching going, we expect to see you up there now, challenging. Is that an expectation you've put on yourself, or is it too soon to settle yourself in, or are we already thinking about hopefully winning the whole thing?
Well, naturally, the biggest pressure that I ever get is from myself. You know, if there's an expectation for me to be at the front, trust me, I share that. Going into F1 22, it's a completely fresh game, new handling, new physics, new things to learn, a lot of new things to master. At the end of the day, you know, it's still driving a car, but success is never guaranteed. I feel like people maybe take it a bit for granted how difficult it is to not just be at the top, but then try and stay near the top or at the top. The level is that high, and there's always going to be someone working that little bit harder than you. So it's up to you to raise your game and meet that expectation and bring it to them.
Always a pleasure to catch up with Lucas Blakely. Two familiar faces. If you're new to F1 Esports Pro Championship, I'll introduce them. Matt Gallagher and Alex Jakes. Gentlemen, your voices were heard throughout the commentary. Looking forward to this season.
Yeah, a brand new season. Been here for too long now, really, but it's it's awesome. It's my favourite time of the year. F1 Esports starting again. New game, new regulations, a new car, very different to what the drivers have had to manage the last few years. So I'm proper excited to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, Alex, we saw how passionate Lucas Blakely was there celebrating. You'll hear all of that, but looking to get into the first race tonight.
Yeah, new season. I mean, here it is, opening night, all of the practice is done, the grid is set, and now we're going to find out whether the things that Matt just mentioned are going to jumble things up or whether we're going to get a repeat of last year. It looks like it's going to be very tight. It always looks like it's going to be competitive. It's what we love about F1 Esports.
Yeah, 30 drivers from 13 different nations, 17 changes. I did mention it earlier, 9 driver swaps. Let's have a little look at them now. These are the driver swaps. Danny Beresny moving from McLaren's shadow to make way for Lucas Blakely, but he goes back to Alfa Romeo. Alpine, Nicolas Longuet heads to Alfa Romeo, his teammate. And we also have a rookie driver, Thomas Poroditz, moves to Alfa Romeo. That's from the Pro Exhibition. So lots of swaps there. Aston Martin have a completely new team. But look at that one, Nick. Fabrizio Donoso, he's been around in the F1 Esports scene for a while, but moving to Ferrari, bit of pressure moving to Ferrari, you'd say.
Definitely a lot of pressure, but he looks good up in there in red, and I think he'll do a good job for the team.
Yeah, also 2 rookies there joining for Haas. I like that. That's brave, that's confident. They've got the pace. You may as well put them in there and see what they've got. And because we saw them at the Pro Exhibition, that's Thomas Rhonard that you see right now, and he won that competition. Brave move, or you've just got to go for it?
Well, Haas haven't done particularly well in the Constructors the last few years, so they may as well go for a bit of a jumble up. And as we saw in qualifying, Rhonard's done an incredible job and put Haas right on the map. So it's clearly worked so far. We've still got 12 races to go, but it's a really strong start for the Haas team.
OK, so both of those names, Thomas and Peter Stachelic, started today in qualifying. Did they impress you, Alex?
They did, because it's one thing doing well in the Pro Exhibition. It's another thing when the limelight's on you, when you've got to go up against the big names that everyone is talking about, that you're talking about at the top of the show. So they didn't show many signs of nerves in qualifying, especially the man that's sitting on the front row, for goodness sake. Yeah,
so the driver lineups for the qualifying today. Joni Tormula was a surprise move for AlphaTauri. He didn't get to drive today. Josh Idowi from McLaren took his place, but that is the lineup. You've got inexperience mixed in with absolute bosses like the likes of Brendan Lee. Didn't think I'd refer to him as a boss this early in the season, but with it all to prove, he's a 2-time champion. And then as you go along, Williams moving Daniele Haddad out to bring Shanaka Clay in. What did you make of that brave move from AlphaTauri? No, Joni Tormula.
Well, look, there's so many changes. I'm getting used to all the different kits for the drivers, but it's interesting to see Mercedes and Red Bull sticking to what they know. And will we see the likes of Haas and these other teams that have maybe rolled the dice, see if some of those have actually sort of paid off and can challenge the likes of Mercedes and Red Bull?
Yeah, Nick, just a quick comment on Ferrari, not going with David Tonitza, a former world champ. Fab Donoso takes his place. The pressure's going to be on him, surely.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure to replace David Tonitza. We know how fast and experienced David Tonitza is. So I was a bit nervous for Fab Donoso, bless him, but he did a really, really good job in qualifying, put it right up there and showed why he is actually there as a new driver for Ferrari.
3:30 p.m. every day that we have got a race. The quali show happens, which Matt Gallagher hosts expertly. And we will have a look at the qualifying now. Let's start with Q1. Matt, real surprise. Blakely had the pace. That is not the surprise. He's following on from that form last year. But Kiefer out.
Yeah, there were some big scalps, which may suggest that we will see a shuffling of the pecking order. Not just Marcel Kiefer, but Nicolas Longay as well, not making it through out of Q1, especially Longay, known for his qualifying prowess, but out in Q1. Thankfully for them, they've got a bit more time to make it up in the race. 50% definitely gives the advantage a little bit to the back runners to try and make up for their woes in qualifying. But yeah, as you can see, Longay's face not happy with that at all. Kiefer, massive shock as well, but the gaps were so small in Q1, as you can see.
Yeah, and Danny Moreno, we saw there, left it late. Alex, as we moved on to Q2, I think that was the period you sort of came back, or was it Q3 you came back into the quali show?
I came back in Q3, but I was keeping an eye on Q2.
Yeah, what a walkout it was as well. Sebastian Job cancelled his, well, it's a lap deleted, but then Berezny out. We thought he could come back, show a bit of form, 0 points in the championship last year, hoping for him to do better. And of course, Job setting the quickest lap. So it was a 1 deleted and then quickest lap. That was a bit of a surprise.
Well, that's what they've got to balance in qualifying. You've got to dance it to the edge, but not beyond. And there's no forgiveness on this game. There's nothing that the game is going to miss, maybe unlike the real world. So fine margins, but that's always the case.
Yeah, and Brendan, the boss Lee, as I've decided to call him tonight, was out in Q2. We moved on to Q3, Nick, and it was really, could Lucas Blakely keep that pace? And he managed to do it.
Yeah, he did, right at the end. What a great, fantastic lap from him. He actually was screaming and shouting on the radio as he came across the line. Great to see him up in P1. I think it's going to be a fantastic, look, you see the Haas up there with Thomas already in P2. That's a fantastic start for him for his first ever F1 Pro Championship race. So really excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, it didn't look like he had any nerves at all. Don't forget, Haas had 8 team championship points in total last season. So if he finishes second, they've already bossed it. Right, Thomas Rhonard starting the grid in second place. Barry Boromond means in third that McLaren Shadow have the 1 and the 3, Matt. That's fantastic for a team to get started, but both drivers in the top 10.
Yeah, massively strong start. If anything, they've probably got the strongest lineup this year. Blakely and Burman, both incredibly good in qualifying, and that's what you need in this F1 Esports series. It's almost more than 50% of the job done if you're in that top 10, and first and third is a massive achievement. But not only that, you look at the gaps. Usually we're having maybe 2.5 tenths separating the top 10. There's some actual big gaps that we saw in Q3, which was surprising.
Yeah, and further down, I see Marcel Kiefer here. He's put Red Bull under a bit of pressure with his performance from qualifying, hasn't he, Nick, there? Because you really want Mercedes have got 2 in the top 10 and McLaren Shadow, and then Red Bull looking to bounce back and win that team championship. They put themselves under pressure already.
Yeah, I mean, it's out of character, isn't it, from Marcel Kiefer? He's done it a couple of times throughout the years, but he's been able to pick it up and move forward. So with the 50% race, you know, he's got more opportunity, more laps to make amends, and hopefully he can get up there into the points and at least start his season strong for the team.
Well, I don't know about you guys and you at home. I can't wait to get the racing underway. We'll have a short break. When we come back, we'll get the racing underway. Here we are then for the F1 Esports Pro Championship. Welcome back. We are moments away from the first race of the 2022 season. We just had a look at qualifying, Nick, and now moments away from getting that underway. But, Nick, what are your thoughts on this qualifying and how the grid stacks up? Lucas Blakely starts, a rookie in second place. What is Rasmussen going to have to do here? He's got two Mercedes right behind him.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to play the long game. Obviously, it's a 50% race, but I think what's really cool about this right now is that it's a new game. Everybody's resetting. You don't know who's going to win this race. We've got a lot of talent, we've got a lot of experience, but also a lot of fresh and new faces as well. So let's see what the rookies can do in P2. But it's going to be an amazing race, I'm sure.
Do you think that there's a little bit of pressure on Jarno Watmere? He's the reigning champ. He's in fifth at the moment. It's a 50% race. When's he going to send it? When's he going to try and push up there and prove everybody, I've still got this?
Well, we've seen in the past, Jarno Watmere has not really been a one-lap specialist as such. It's when it's the races where he comes into his own. And so you might see him on an alternate strategy, something different to the others. That's where he seems to have his edge. So let's see what tyres he's starting on. And I'm sure from P5, he's definitely going to be someone that potentially could win the race.
I cannot wait for this. It's time to find out how much of a difference there is, how much of a gulf there is between the rookies and the experienced pros. But we have got two experienced guys in the commentary box. It is, of course, Alex Jakes and Matt Gallagher.
One of the great throws. Tom, thank you very much. It is nearly time, everyone. Opening night, nowhere to hide. 50% races, a greater challenge, and one of the best prizes in all of esports. This is spine-tingling. The wait before round one, Matt.
Yeah, my favourite time of the year. I think that as well, a lot of people online have asked for 50% races. Finally, F1 Esports delivers that, which opens a whole new window of strategy options. And it means we can get our teeth into it a bit more as well, which is exciting for us.
Yeah, this is going to be fascinating, and we are starting just like the real thing. A Bahrain International Circuit, known by all out there, always puts on a great show. It's great for overtaking, 5.4 kilometres, 3.3 miles and 15 turns, Matt.
Yeah, we had such a great race here last year as well, that it's set up beautifully this year. You've got a rookie on the front row of the grid, 3 DRS zones. I think the main sort of action areas looking at is turn 1, turn 4, also turn 10. Keep an eye out for that, not necessarily for overtakes, but for drivers potentially snatching a break and running wide there. Very difficult for the drivers, but I am so buzzing for this. Round 1, points are completely level and equal. I'm ready to see what the drivers have got on this brand new game.
Reputations count for very little at this point of the season. You've seen the circuit, you've seen the challenge ahead, all of the hours of preparation, all of the team moves. Well, you can forget about that now. The heart will be pumping for these drivers, spread all around the world, different locations, but one goal now to deliver when it comes to F1 Esports.
Absolutely. And, you know, you can be as quick as you want in practice, but it's delivering on the night for your official Formula One team that you're signed for. The pressure is massive. There's Lucas Blakely. He hasn't suffered from the pressure yet. He's on pole position and looks very focused indeed.
There's a man with a lot of work to do, Marcel Kiefer. Starting way down the order compared to what he's used to. Pole position winner, race winner, and part of the Red Bull team that's gone to the title so many times. Another man with work to do. Long day there.
Absolutely. But we know these guys have got pace. So it'll be really interesting to see how much or how many positions they can make up at the start, whether they go for an alternate strategy. They've got nothing to lose. They lost it in qualifying. They now have everything to gain in the race. And yeah, I'm fascinated to see how this will unfold. 50%, it's going to be a thriller.
And the first time that we're doing it then, so it's even if you're an experienced campaigner like the last driver we saw there, Freddie Rasmussen, Nick Hamilton called him the nearly man. He's helped deliver the Constructors' Championship time and time again, but can he now? Is this his moment to step forward? Let's find out. It is time for a new season of F1 Esports, and we go racing at Bahrain International for the opening contest of the year. Perfect getaway for Lucas Blakely, not the only one as well. A second McLaren is heading through and putting pressure on Rhonard. Barry Borman trying to make it a 1-2. Does he get the room? He does get the room. Will they find their way through? The driver from the front row all over the road, but continues through. Blakely with the dream getaway. Rhonard with not the one that he wanted, and he is battling to stay in P3. Blakely, Borman, Rhonard, Otmar, and Rasmussen, the top 5, as Otmar gets ahead.
Oh, great start from Otmar, from 5th to 3rd already on lap 1. That's exactly what the double world champion wanted. Rhonard potentially a bit of nerves, maybe a shaky leg off the grid, as we've got Fabrizio Donoso, his debut for Ferrari.
It was a big call to put him in the car, Matt.
Huge.
And it's not worked out at this stage. Real problem for him and disappointment. He's 5 seconds off the back already. As they get used to these new cars in race trim, they'll have done hours after hours, but it's different when you're up against the best in the world. And Blakely has got away well. He's brought his teammate through for company. The reigning champion throwing his slightly average qualifying form out of the window, nice and early on. He always seems to do that as they make their way through the final sector of the first lap of the opening contest of the year. Danny Moreno, Simon Weigang, Shipos there in 8th position. Then Josh Adowo, a top 10 completed by Alvaro Caraton. Brendan Lee, the lead Ferrari, in 12th position.
McLaren Shadow, 1-2 at the moment. They couldn't have dreamed for a better start, and Blakely looks strong at the front at the moment. We're riding on board with Freddie Rasmussen. This is the point now where you just settle down into the race. A lot of drivers on the hard tyre to start. We're expecting a one-stop strategy. And these are all going quite long into the race, it seems. But Lucas Blakely ahead of Barry Burman. We're now taking a look at Freddie Rasmussen live from the Red Bull HQ. And he has got the rookie Rhonard directly ahead of him. And interestingly, apart from Donoso, unfortunately, every single driver will be within DRS if it stays this way when lap 3 comes about. Freddie Rasmussen, P5, still in the mix. Jarno Otmar will be so happy with this start, Alex.
He will, because he would have known a little bit of hard work, longer laps in which to get it done. Hard tyre, followed by hard tyre, followed by hard tyre. Who has gone in a different direction? Have they all gone the same way? Just looking at the back, we're at turn 11 in the foreground. In the background, couldn't see anyone, Matt, on the alternative strategy.
The only one I could potentially think of is Donoso, because he is flying up to the back of Beresne, unless he's just deploying all of his battery in his car, trying desperately to get within that DRS when it gets activated. But yeah, we're not seeing too many changes or any alternate strategies. It seems like the hard tyre are the one to start on, and probably because remember, one thing for this new F1 22 game is that if you come out the pits and put on a fresh set of tyres, they are cold, very cold. You have to put a heat cycle through them, and there is a lot of time to be lost from the pit exit. So perhaps that's the thinking from a lot of these drivers, is let's get the hard tyre out the way.
We've seen that plenty of times in the real thing, time and time again this year, when you've got a situation of a driver has track position and a few corners later they cannot fight due to tyre temperature. The DRS is enabled for the first time this year. So we go on board with the driver who, you have to say, a sensational performance. One thing to do it on the way up through the field, but then in his first qualifying session, brilliant performance from Thomas Rhonard, and he's lost a couple of places, you can see from the graphic. Joshua Goooo having a great first lap there, and when we checked in, he did appear to be on the same compounded tyre. So pure racing talent from what it appears at this stage. We'll give you an update if he is on a different tyre, but they all appear to have gone on the hard Pirelli. Slightly wide moment ahead as they all try to make their way through, but it's Rhonard hoping for a mistake from those ahead. He's in contention though, and that stat from Tom Deacon at the top of the broadcast, 8 points last year. This finish alone would be the stuff of dreams for Haas, who have gone a completely different direction. They've invested in the young talent, they've gone for new names, and at the moment Rhonard has had a very good start to things. It is a long season. We've got 12 races to go. They are longer races than before as we go on board with Shanaka Clay with the Williams team, and very much looking for the run on Brendan Lee, and you can see that he is on the medium tyre.
Exactly, I was about to say, one of the only drivers that's gone for the mediums, and just look at the speed difference. Is going to pass the world champion of Brendan Lee, and you should think that's the kind of progress Shanaka Clay would be looking for. And Fabrizio Donoso has caught up to the back of this entire field of train. Everybody is in this train at the moment. So Donoso, I think, is another driver that's gone differently, which is so costly. The fact that he had that mistake, or there was an incident that we haven't seen, and that has pretty much ruined his race, despite being able to catch up to the back of this field.
Danny Beresnay, 20th position, proven race winner. Didn't work out for him last year. Back to the Alfa Romeo team where he's had success in the past, and at the back of the field, which I think really underlines when you've got Longuet in 17th, Kiefer in 18th, Donoso and Beresnay as your last four in the order. If you're new to it, those are proven drivers, race winners, podium finishers, and yet they're the last four in the order.
Yeah, race winners, all of them, I think, which is insane to say out loud that they are the back four at the moment. But it just shows that this F1 22 game needs an entirely new set of skills, and it's not as easy to adapt to a new game. Not just that, but learning the new setups that are available as well. But the same cannot be said for the McLaren Shadow team. They have nailed it at the moment. They are dictating the pace out in front. And it has to be said, Rhonard, who is the rookie, and maybe had a bit of a shaky start, but he's settled down now in P4 and looking quite strong behind Jana Watmere. Here's Nicholas Longuet having a little look at Bianca Lila towards the first corner. Bianca Lila goes defensive, all in the DRS train, so not a huge amount of overspeed for Longuet.
That's an easy way to cause yourself some grief. Outside line becoming the inside line, but that's a simple way to lose your front wing. Got to be careful there. And in the end, they got away with it, but full damage applied here, as it should be in F1 Esports, and that was mighty close. You could understand a bit of frustration creeping in there if it was, because it's not where Nicholas Longuet, proven race winner, plenty of great one-lap pace as well throughout his F1 Esports career. He finds himself in 17th place, up one, but unable to get past the Aston Martin ahead.
The problem is that not many of the drivers have gone for an alternate strategy, because you get stuck in this DRS train. So even if you are running the mediums like Shanaka Clay, you're not able to make as much progress as you may hope for. He is up 5, up to 12th, but that's still not in the points-paying positions yet, and will have to go on the slower tyre later on. And here we go, Thomas Rhonard. Have a look at his steering wheel, 75% ERS battery charge, so not particularly on a push, and expect to see that for a lot of the race. I think around the pit stops, that's when we'll start to see a lot more deployment, a lot more pushing, as that's where you can really make up positions with the undercut or potentially the overcut, because remember, tyre warm-up is a massive factor in this F1 22 game.
Fastest lap of the race belonging to Danny Moreno, driver who finds himself staying with Mercedes. He does know that with some of the team changes, he's got a little bit of pressure. They both have. There's no long-term loyalty. If there's a driver who's faster, if Jake Benham in the simulation runs is faster, they will use Jake Benham. And to show you that, Fabrizio Donoso in place of a champion, no less, with David Tennison being dropped today. You have 3 drivers in each team. You have options, and the teams are racing for a 750,000 price pool, and that's what they're looking for. But the drivers, of course, there's the illustration that Matt was talking about a few moments ago. Shanafka Clay on the medium tyre, Danny Berezne on the medium tyre.
Pitted. So Berezne's gone for something completely different, whether he's picked up some damage or just going to try and make some positions up really early. But surprisingly enough, and I think this is how much pace is being dictated right now, Donoso was able to catch up a 5-second deficit to the back of the field, making me think, hey, look, he's probably on the mediums. He's not. This is just a battery-saving contest at the moment, but fully expect when the pit stops come, that's when the pace will be picked up.
So we're in a bit of a holding pattern in the opening race of the year, but this is F1 Esports, this is Bahrain. You know it will be worth watching to the end because...
We're not supposed to Opmir, look at the intervals there.
Really close. So that'll be, look at Rhonard, has he got the run? Has there been a mistake for Opmir? He's able to defend, according to our information on the left-hand side. We go back to the front of the field because look at the Haas all over the back of the Mercedes, feeling confident enough to shape for the move.
I like that. I like that. Even though it's on a 2-time world champion who's not going to fall for that. Rhonard feeling like he wants the train to get a move on.
Yeah, the young Dutch driver making his debut today. Great work in the Pro Exhibition to win him his place here. And Haas going for the best in the Pro Exhibition. But that's, as you point out, Matt, that's not going to scare a 2-time champion off the road, but it shows you all you need to know about the darty confidence of this young superstar, trying to find his way onto the podium on debut. That's some way to announce yourself. But what a turnaround for McLaren Shadow, 1 and 2 at the moment, and they're out front. Lucas Blakely, Barry Borremund, they're holding, and it gives them the advantage, Matt, when you've got 2 cars out front. Gives them strategic advantages. You've talked about the pace being dictated to, and it gives them options to play with both Blakely and Barry Borremund. Blakely looking to come through and score another win, having taken the win here 1 year ago.
I mean, we're used to DRS trains in real-life Formula 1, but we have a 19-car DRS train at the moment, which is pretty mad to see. Freddie Rasmussen having a little look at Rhonard down towards turn 1. Thankfully, the Haas driver also has a dose of DRS to defend, so it makes it even more difficult.
Incredible stats from Freddie Rasmussen. 45 race starts now, thanks to today. 10 wins, but 27 podiums. That is outstanding stuff when you consider the talent that's come through the order, and yet never with his hands on the championship trophy. Sometimes he's had a poor start, and that's allowed others to build a buffer. He's absolutely in contention to win the opening race of the year. Looked good for a long time in qualifying as well, didn't he? He looked very, very happy. So when we go from the race holding pattern into those vital in-laps and out-laps, could that be the moment for him to show the class that he has across the 45 races in F1 Esports?
Certainly could. Freddie Rasmussen, one of the coolest customers in the business. You wouldn't know when you take a look at his camera whether he's won the race or lost it at the end of these 29 laps, but that's just the way Freddie Rasmussen rolls, and we're riding on board with him now. As you can see, he has got a full battery, 97%. There is no pushing going on for this Red Bull driver at the moment. Here's a question now. McLaren, obviously, in the pound seats right now, P1 and P2. The thing is, they can't pit at the same time, so they're going to have to work out what's the strategy here. Does Burman play some kind of game here? Like we've seen in the past, the 2 Red Bulls, Kiefer and Rasmussen, work so perfectly together. In Austria is one that springs to mind, where they were able to save ERS in different areas to help their teammate. Is there a similar thing that's going to be at play for these next 20 laps?
So Danny Berezne off the back of the field, everyone else basically glued to each other, and it's one mistake. You know, all the driver inputs, all the effort behind the wheel. The great thing about F1 Esports compared to some other esports is that they're actually in a full rig. They're doing the same actions, they're pushing on. And Danny Berezne, we always talk about how hard he pumps that brake pedal, but the intensity there behind his braking foot as he hammers it, but it's one mistake, and it's not just one mistake and you drop to like P6 if you're these guys. It's one mistake and you drop to the back of the pack.
It's ridiculous. I was just looking at the gaps, and it's about 9 seconds. Oh, I'm 9 seconds off the lead. Where are you? P4, P5? Oh no, I'm 19th.
Yeah.
This is the level of F1 Esports, and it just again proves how crucial qualifying is. You have to make it into Q3 to stand any chance of winning a race or being on the podium. And I am fully expecting chaos to ensue when the pit stops arrive. But right now, the McLarens are just enjoying themselves right now. As I say, dictating the pace. When are we going to see a Vigan or someone around the bottom levels of the top 10 make some sort of move to try and get up this train?
Great to see Barry Burriman working the wheel. Look at the intensity there. Having a check, knowing that he's got to go much longer than he ever has done before in his previous F1 Esports career because of the new format. The call for 50% went out. The call for 50% has been answered. McLaren in a great position, but as you point out, Matt, they're going to be able to double stack. So here's Barry Burriman thinking, oh, I better make the difference. You've also got the team dynamic at play there. Barry Burriman with a little bit of experience and getting himself comfortable. And Lucas Blakely had that breakthrough last year, which we highlighted for you at the top of the program. But since then, you know, the confidence to move, that it wasn't going to affect things, that it wasn't going to affect form, and we have seen drivers move teams, and it hasn't clicked. So Lucas Blakely in a battle for supremacy, and there's always a driver who, it doesn't matter if they're equal on paper, there's always someone that the team rates higher. And that is the case. Talking of McLaren and that case, David Coulthard once went to Ron Dennis in real life and said, admit it, you favour Mika Hakkinen more. And he finally got it to admit it. I don't know if that helped or hindered him going forward, but there's always a battle for supremacy between Formula One teammates. Jarno Opmeer, the champion, keeping a watching brief, a former winner around this circuit. And Rhonard ruining, I should say, that potentially race-ruining start, because I don't think he would have been expecting that slightly tardy getaway to potentially cost him as much as it has. He can see the race lead. The problem for him, 3 cars between him and it.
So interestingly, Shanak of Clay has gone into the pits, the only medium runner. Will now put on the hards, which gives us a bit of an idea as to when we may see the drivers come in for a pit stop. But we wait to see what Shanak Clay's progress will be like on those fresh hards. You have to imagine at this stage he'll be a little bit quicker once he's got through the tyre warm-up phase. But Danny Beresnay is out of the session. He has retired, which is not what we wanted to see for Danny Beresnay. Of course, once a teammate of Brendan Lee, and he's won plenty of races, and it has not started the way that he would have hoped.
And you just can't have a retirement in F1 Esports if you're going to contend at the front of the field. We were going through the highlights of the season earlier on from last year, and we had a 10th place finish in Imola. That's our next race tomorrow night. And that was the end. That was the undoing of Lucas Blakely's championship. He just had a slight off day, still in the points, and enough to take him out of contention. And so the title was fought between Opmeer and Rasmussen, the driver in 3rd and 5th. But it's a little bit wait and see. Race coming, it's simmering along at the moment. There's still the amazing ability to pick your braking point at every corner, to not make a mistake, to not get the aero wash from the car in front, to not go too wide on those very wide turn-ins that they have, certainly at the final corner, certainly going into turn 4 as well, the corner they're heading to at the moment. It is all about, you see, wide, and careful not to extend past the white line, which we all know these days is absolutely the extremity of the racetrack. Lucas Blakely bathing in all of a half-second lead ahead of everyone, let's be honest.
If you hate DRS strains, it's become shorter. Brendan Lee is now the back of it in P12. Still a pretty big one, and still gives plenty of opportunities to the drivers at the back of it. But we still await to see. I'd be interested to ride on board with Lucas Blakely to see what kind of battering he's running with. Of course, the leader, the conductor, and he has to try and save as much energy as possible without any assistance of DRS. He is absolutely managing the pace right now. And yeah, very, very interested to see what the likes of Rhonard, Rasmussen, Bahrain. Does Rhonard, the rookie, fancy doing a little undercut and getting right in the mix it's going to be fascinating to watch. But there's going to have to be a difference. They can't all just go on the same strategy, or they'll end up finishing the way they've started.
And that would be very unusual for F1 Esports. A reminder that the big winners at the start, Barry Burman getting up a couple of places, and getting up one place, I should say, Jarno Opmeer.
Here we go.
Moving up.
Look at that. We've got a couple of pit stops.
Here we go.
Right, everybody sit up. Here we go.
Here we go. So, AlphaTauri welcoming in Sebastian Job. The second house in the order as well. Stadiolek is in. And then back out. Bring those tyres into the temperature window, something that they'll practice time and time again. Rejoin the racetrack. We go back then to turn 8, and we go back to the race lead. When are we going to get other drivers pull the trigger? How early dare you switch to the medium rubber? Well, for most of them.
If you're Brendan Lee, just come in as soon as physically possible, where you actually think you can get those mediums to the end of the race. Of course, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for Job and Stauchelek to get to the end without suffering too much at the end of the race. But it's one to definitely watch, especially their pace. 18.5 seconds is Job behind Donoso. We'll see how quickly that gap starts to disintegrate. But right now, we're just waiting to see one of the top 10 to roll the dice and get involved in this train.
So this is where driver and team really have to work well together. This is where an inspired call can make all the difference. It's beginning to look edgier though, isn't it? You're beginning to see those gaps come down and down and down, and here's the moment for Danny Moreno, for Simon Weigang, for Patrick Schipos, and for Josh Aduwo. And we've got passing on the racetrack. It's all going off at once. Absolutely nothing for the last 5 minutes, and then cars absolutely everywhere. That's what we love about F1 Esports. It's all coming to the boil now, because they've got to get a move on. And it's Marcel Kiefer putting the pressure on, the Aston Martin ahead. Nicolas Longuet involved in it. Cars battling, cars with an important moment. Remember, Weigang was in the mix there, along with Danny Moreno. It's Weigang managed to get out ahead of Danny Moreno, then Job and Aduwo as they cycle through, and now the moment is arriving for everyone else in the field. It's time to push. It's time to show us what you've really got. Let's now hear from Jarno Opmeer.
I reckon if I get DRS on the main straight and I use a lot of ERS on the lap, I will overcut someone.
And so that's his thinking. You could hear him shifting gears in the background of that team radio whilst considering, okay, I'm in DRS, I've got my battery deployment, I've got the tactics available, but sounding confident, crucially, not in the undercut that we've seen Weigang and Danny Moreno, who's lost a position to Sebastian Job there. So Weigang and Job are going nicely. Many more peeling off. This is going to be so interesting now. Barry Burman is in. So is Thomas Rhonard. So is Freddie Rasmussen. Who can make the difference? Who can bring their tyres in? Crucial moments in the destiny of who's on the podium for the opening race of the year.
Here we go then. Jarno Opmeer, crucially, is within DRS of Blakely, so he'll be able to close up to the back of that McLaren, and it is all kicking off now. And Rhonard is ahead of Burmant.
Wow. That is a big change, because that is potentially a podium on debut. Here we go, sweeping out. Don't worry about the pit exit line by the looks of things, sweeping out. And that is a big change. That's potentially podium on debut for Thomas Rhonard, the Dutch driver, out ahead of Barry Burman. And Barry Burman's heart will sink. Freddie Rasmussen's heart will sink, because there's nothing to do with the strategy now. You're going to have to make the difference on track. And these are huge moments for Barry Burman to bring in the tyres, but to keep within DRS range. And meanwhile, out front, Lucas Blakely and Jarno Opmeer have gone to work, and they're battling. 2 race winners from last year, a reigning champion in the Silver Arrow, battling suddenly for the race lead. One hurrying on another. Will they both pit this time around?
There's no more dictating the pace, Alex. It is all for themselves. They are deploying the energy. You can see on the steering wheel down to about 40% for Opmeer. He knows this is his opportunity to potentially take the lead, he reckons. He reckons an overcut is absolutely on the cards. Does he carry on? Opmeer does. So we got Blakely in the pits. Jarno Opmeer believes, right, it's time to deploy the battery and try and take the lead.
Okay, Lucas Blakely, winner of the race last year, up against the winner of the race the year before. And into the pits Waiting for it, getting back out there. Where does Lucas Blakely filter out? Perfect first stint, you have to say. Held the lead all the while. And it's an excruciating wait as we get to the end of the pit lane. And you can hear them coming closer and closer and closer and going ahead. It's going to be tied into the braking zone. Big opportunity now. Look at this. This is so tight. He's fighting his teammate. He's fighting Rhonard. He's getting through. Barry Burramund is up past Lucas Blakely, who has missed out. And we're very nearly 4 wide. It's turned into a brawl. After so long, we were waiting to see action. And now we've got some so close to contact. And Freddie Rasmussen is now in the mix. Haas on the right, McLaren on the left. And Lucas Blakely's chances of victory might have faded. Over the road goes Rasmussen. Absolutely incredible action. Having seen absolutely nothing in the early stages, it's come alive now. It's Barry Burramund getting the jump, then Lucas Blakely. Freddie Rasmussen is in 10th position. Simon Weigang demotes Thomas Rhonard, and it's Freddie Rasmussen who has a 5-second penalty for cutting the corner. This race turning into fireworks out of nowhere.
Look, we promised you, didn't we? This is going to kick off, but don't forget Jarno Opmeer. They've all been fighting. Jarno's like, you know what? I'm going for this.
Moreno around the outside.
Rhonard's got damage. I thought that Rasmussen tapped him a little bit. Remember, this is simulation damage. Opmeer in the pits.
And all of that fighting, and all of that squabbling, and all of that scruffy but brilliant and glorious racing has opened the door for the reigning champion, who will be thinking, it's awfully quiet around here. He's been pushing on. He talked himself up for the overcut, and it won't be as close before, but he will absolutely love that he is out ahead of all of those who've stopped. Jarno Opmeer asked for the overcut. He got it. He's made it work, and he's got the net race lead.
That is an absolute masterstroke from Jarno Opmeer. Of course, he has to go through this tyre warm-up cycle, so that 1.5 second gap may come down a tiny bit. But what a decision from Opmeer. I mean, he probably didn't know they were going to go 4 wide, but it's still just staying out of all of that chaos has given him the opportunity. Burramund has closed the gap now to within DRS range. This is by far not over, but unfortunately, if you have a look, you can see the Haas driver, Rhonard, is now 19th. He's had to pit again, so he did pick up too much damage. The debutant, it was all looking so good, but just that smallest bit of contact with Freddie Rasmussen has cost him dearly.
Freddie Rasmussen has a penalty. Simon Weigang is really in the mix on his debut for Aston Martin.
I think Rasmussen will appeal that penalty. I think that it was one of those counting down penalties, and they'll probably try and appeal that at the end.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. And now, maximum attack for Barry Burramund. For Lucas Blakely, all of his nightmares come true. He didn't just have his teammate going past, he had a Haas to the inside. And in fairness to Thomas Rhonard, what are you going to do in that situation? You've got to go for the empty racetrack that's in front of you. Of course, let's have another look at this, because this was extraordinary stuff. Coming out of the pits, we're on board with Thomas Rhonard. That's our old race leader. And it's all fair through here. But 3 wide on a narrow track.
You're thinking, oh, the McLarens have pulled off a blinder here. They've managed to get ahead again. But then it just all kicks off again.
And then at that point, Freddie Rasmussen's in the mix.
I mean, that was a perfect little undercut from Rhonard, wasn't it? To get back in front of those two, but it's just going to be too tight. The hand goes up, then Freddie comes across, boom. There's the damage, front left, as you can see. And it's just, he knew at that point, there's no way I'm going to be able to keep up the pace, which is such a shame for Rhonard.
Yeah, really is. Brilliant performance. He can take a lot away from today. He can take a lot into the rest of the season. The battle for the lead, it's not over. Not by a long chalk. Absolutely incredible. I've never, ever seen an F1 esports race offer so little and so much, like a light switch. Halfway through there, and Blakely coming out of the pits. He had the Haas to the inside, he had his teammate on the other side of him, he had Freddie Rasmussen in the mix as well. And now Lucas Blakely, knowing he was in a 3-car battle for the lead last year and he triumphed. It was about car placement, it was tactical, but it was very much on the brink and it was close to damage then. Is he going to be able to clear his teammate and the champion in order to win once again? He will be highly motivated. But there'll be frustration. There'll be frustration for the Scottish driver, who's one of the stars in real life of the Race of Champions, beating some very, very impressive contenders in the Race of Champions. So he's got skills in real life. He's got skills behind the wheel as well. He's in the mix here. Have to say, the moment Otmir got the lead, you worried whether he would build a gap. The answer to that question has been no.
No, but Jarno does have 1 lap fresher tyres. He is now at the front of this train. How's Lucas's mentality going to be right now? I think still positive. McLaren essentially at P2 and 3 after all the pit stops sort themselves out. Here's Donoso following Schneider. They're only 10 seconds down the road from Jarno Otmir, so I don't think these front 5 are going to do too much, but they look like they're going to be trying a short stint on the softs at the end of this race, so they certainly will go on the attack. Looking a little bit further down, Shepos, of course, has that penalty. Whether it will get overturned or not sure. Same for Freddie Rasmussen. Simon Weigand's having a very strong race. P5 if Rasmussen gets his penalty taken off, make that P4 if Freddie has to keep it. And that is a brilliant start for Simon. It's not over yet as we take a look at Donoso trying to flip Schneider.
Here we go. This is the man who was plumb last in the early stages of the race. And in that special liveried Ferrari. That's great as it makes its way through. And it's great if you're Fabrizio Donoso, because you're up to P3 and everyone coming through. Brendan Lee making you stop there, this man's teammate. Ferrari have a very strong lineup, but searching for a bit of form. And Lucas Blakely, after the skirmish that we saw earlier on, and Freddie Rasmussen did rejoin and make contact with another car, so could potentially be in for keeping that penalty. And this is what the battle for the lead actually looks like. Jarno Otmir having called for it, boldly called for it. Now, does he have the ability? Jarno Otmir very, very good in all departments, apart from qualifying. I think it's fair to say. Apart from qualifying, Jarno Otmir just good on the attack, good on the defence. I love that from Barry Burman, the Iranian driver, trying to win his first race today. He will be prepared to risk it, but crucially, he did the work there. Oh, there's fine margin stuff between McLaren teammates, but it's a reversal of what we saw earlier on. And Burman getting track position. Jarno Otmir with a 0.4 of a second lead, but one wide moment, and he will invite Barry Burman, who will not need his second invitation. He will be fed up. This is start number 14. He will be fed up of having great pace and getting podiums. He wants that win.
Absolutely, and he's in a great position to do it. Just needs to time it right, and you'd have to imagine the McLaren drivers may even try some sort of double overtake on Otmir, because of course Otmir does not have.
Here's the moment, here's the moment. He pulls out of the slipstream and he goes to the inside. Otmir won't have a choice. Barry Burman's gonna take the lead of this one. It's Otmir over the road. Otmir rejoins, and Barry Burman's very nearly there. He's not the only one. The McLaren's fighting through here. Burman through, Blakely to the inside, and Jarno Otmir, having held the lead brilliantly after that strategy, loses out to both McLarens.
I think Otmir might be on the team radio for that one. We'll have to see a replay of that, but seemed to be pushed off the road ever so slightly. So we'll have to see what happened there, but certainly the McLarens just bullied Jarno Otmir out of the way, went for the exact double overtake that I predicted as they went down the straight. Now Otmir, what can he do? The two McLarens will certainly work together to make sure their energy deployment is in sync. And Otmir from first to third after Longuet pits, that's going to hurt a little bit.
So Blakely currently in P3, and with discounting Nicolas Longuet, he will have better days this season, I'm sure. But he's yet to make his stop. That was brilliant stuff. Once again, Jarno Otmir's hard work undone. But was it a clean and tidy overtake for Barry Burman, or could our stewarding panel have to take another look? Matt, take us through it.
So Otmir's not really defended, expecting a bit of room on the outside. Gets pushed wide, then goes immediately over the grass. Obviously gets a warning there, illegal overtake, that can be overturned anyway, but that gets deleted. It's quite difficult to say really there. Of course, Otmir will argue that he was owed some space there, but very quickly bailed out. He knew at that point, I have to go across the grass here, otherwise I'm going to lose. Well,
he's regrouped. It's not like he's been shaken off. It was a DRS train earlier on, and maybe we didn't mean it in the most positive light. It's a DRS train at the moment, and it is an absolute skirmish out front. Barry Burman on for his first F1 Esports Pro Championship victory, and Lucas Blakely thinking, right, that's one. Okay, just the teammate to go. Nervy moments for McLaren Shadow. Of course, the teams are thinking about the team championship as well. Freddie Rasmussen with that penalty for going over the corner, and something for them to look at as well. We've received no word about that maybe being taken away, so at the moment we have to assume with the information that we've got that it will stand. Simon Weigand at home with Aston Martin, ahead of Danny Moreno. Danny Moreno getting slightly shuffled out on the pit stop sequence, but he's ahead now of Sebastian Job, and then Lee, Shiposh and Adowu completing the point scorers in the opening race of the year. I've got a yellow flag in this part.
It's Rhonard, I believe, who is out of this race, as you can see on the DNF graphic next to his name, which is such a shame. Freddie Rasmussen going on the attack on Otmir at the moment, it seems.
The two contenders from last year's championship battle at the end are about to go wheel to wheel. Of course, it's got to weigh up. How many times have we seen this man work with his teammate in order to close out a victory? That's the option that McLaren Shadow have today. And it's Barry Borman ahead of Lucas Blakely, but neither one of them will want to give up team supremacy. Lucas Blakely does not care about Barry Borman's win tally. He wants to establish himself as the team leader, wants to get back to winning ways around this circuit. Jarno Opmeer will be frustrated to have done the heavy lifting through the pit stop sequence and then get shuffled away. He was down to 23% with the battery as well when we weren't on board with him. So he'd been using that heavily in order to try and keep them behind. Hadn't worked in the end, and he didn't defend, so he was expecting to be given room that maybe didn't appear. And Marcel Keith as well. We were expecting maybe more of a charge for him through the field. Started low down, still low down.
Yeah, unfortunately for Freddie Rasmussen, does not have his teammate with him in this race, and it just shows how difficult it is to make it through. These drivers are so closely matched, and another thing that's very difficult is Otmir cannot seem to do anything about Blakely and Burman. As I say, they'll be working together to make sure they use their energy at different points in the lap, so Otmir just has no chance in getting anywhere near them at the moment. If anything, Freddie Rasmussen looks to be getting very close. Oh, change for the lead.
Here we go, Lucas Blakely got shuffled out when he came out of the pit exit, and he was passed for the lead that he held in the opening stint of the race. Lucas Blakely gets back there, and he's made his way to the front to deny Barry Borman at the moment. But how many times have we seen it get tactical in the latter stages? You still feel that any of the top three could still take this one. The problem for Jarno Opmeer is he's up against two McLarens out front, but Blakely breezing on by and taking P1.
There will have been a tactical chat from McLaren Shadow there to swap the drivers. Maybe Blakely felt a little bit quicker in this race, and maybe they have a bit more of a chance to keep Otmir at bay. Burman makes a little bit of a mistake into turn 10 there. Gives Otmir some kind of hope. Less than 3/10 behind is the Mercedes driver. Brendan Lee's also having a good drive on the soft tyres. He's now joined the DRS train in P8. He'll be looking to try and make some moves on those soft tyres. Only a few laps to go, though. What can Otmir do about Burman? Can he get in the middle of these two McLarens? If he manages to get through on Burman, all of a sudden there is a chance for victory. But that's quite a big task, getting past one of the McLarens when they're working together.
Yeah. And Lucas Blakely will not see that extend beyond a second. He will want to build a buffer, but he will want to still help his team to a 1-2. What a special moment that would be for Lucas Blakely on debut. Oh, he's got a chance, but didn't have the confidence. Almost had two nibbles at it, didn't he? He pulled back in and then had another go to the inside. Burman dropping back. Otmir on the charge. We go up the hill once again to turn number 4. We'll go wide, wide, wide and wider still for the turn in. Clip the apex. And Otmir isn't giving up on this one yet. He's got 19% battery, but he's got 4 laps to go. And this is fascinating now. There's a time penalty. Stanley Leck, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And the driver in 11th position. Tough moment for him, but encouragement for Haas today. They look far more competitive than they did at any stage, really. Okay, let's hear from the man in second place. Barry Borman, half a second, 0.4 of a second away from the lead.
Jarno is so much faster than me.
And that's it. That's it.
Not a team radio you want to hear, is it?
No.
If you're a McLaren Shadow fan.
No, not especially knowing that we're in this stage. But Jarno Opmeer, okay, so much faster. So Barry Burman trying to cling on to second place, trying to take just his third podium. 2 poles, 2 podiums coming into today. Decent qualifying once again. Simon Weigang trying to make himself big in the mirrors of Freddie Rasmussen. Rasmussen ruining that penalty, which stops this being a 4-car battle.
You have to remember, as you can see on screen right now, Opmeer has 2 lap fresher mediums than Burman ahead, so maybe that's where the pace difference is right now. Will that be the difference when we enter the last few laps? Will there be another opportunity for Opmeer? Is he currently recharging? The last time we were riding on board with him, he had about 20% battery, which isn't a huge amount to work with. What's Freddie Rasmussen thinking as well in P4? It's not exactly an easy opponent to see in your mirrors. Does Opmeer look ahead or behind? Does he settle for P3? He knows that just picking up consistently big points is the way to the title. Is P3 enough for Opmeer?
All the answers to Matt's questions coming your way in the next couple of moments, in the next couple of laps. Brendan Lee's on the soft tyres. He's making good progress. Next driver up the road for him is the AlphaTauri Sebastian Job, and he'll try and move up. He's 0.3 of a second away, but with a tyre compound advantage and then some up against the AlphaTauri driver. And then, of course, he's not too far away from everyone else. So it's 0.2. In a few moments, it'll be car lengths, and Brendan Lee seeing how far he can go in the latter stages. But we're running out of time. Lucas Blakely in the box seat, but there were plenty of drivers last year who felt that towards the end. Hear the DRS, you hear the ping. Once again, we're getting closer. We're inching up to the back of the Mercedes, but we've got that 5-second time penalty, we believe. Getting closer out front, Matt.
It is, lap 27 and 29. We're going to see a move that's going to have to happen soon. Jarno's not going to be able to clear both the McLarens in one go. Watch him do it now. But right now, it is very close. One small error. Does Burman want the victory? I can't imagine if all the money is for the team's championship that Burman will send one to the inside.
Look at this. Nicolas Longuet, who was at one point our race leader, he was the last to pit, so he's on fresh soft tyres, but he's further back. Brendan Lee, with that lovely compound advantage, and much fresher as well. So not only is it soft tyres, but they're much fresher as well, and he's confident enough to maybe think about even having a move down into turn 10.
Also, fair play to Longuet.
Yeah.
He was right at the back of the field, and he's put himself into a points-paying position. So his strategy has worked, so has Brendan Lee's, and Lee is on the attack.
Yeah, Brendan Lee is closing up, really nudging his rival through, figuratively at this point, but might be in reality in a few moments' time, because he knows that he's got better pace than basically everyone ahead, but the problem is he's running out of time. So can he make the move? They've all got DRS. Can he make the move down to turn 1? It looks like he's got a great exit. Surely this is the moment. He's been within 0.2 of a second for a while. Not the greatest turn 14 and 15 that he would want, and that is the crucial point. And you just see in the braking zone, despite that tyre compound advantage, he can't even shape for the move, the former champion.
Yeah, you can see with the flashing light, he's struggling for battery at the back of his Ferrari, as you would imagine. Lap 28 of 29, penultimate lap of the race. 0.4 of a second separating Blakely and Burman. Same for Burman versus Opmeer. Rasmussen still in the mix. Weigang not particularly, I say not troubling Rasmussen, he's 0.6 behind. It's not exactly a mile, is it? But 0.3 is where you start to get a little bit excited.
Well, if Barry Burman has anything left, we're about to find out, because we are heading on our way to the final tour of the circuit. And are we thinking about it being a 12-race championship out front? No DRS for Lucas Blakely. The pressure being applied by Barry Burman and Jarno Opmeer. Freddie Rasmussen taken out of contention with that penalty. Simon Weigang with a great first race for Aston Martin. Danny Moreno trying to keep all those behind him, and Brendan Lee not able to make use of that fantastically long run on the old hard tyres that gave him the chance to run the soft. But he's got himself stuck in 8th position. Last of the point scorers, Longuet and a duo. As we go on now Forward with Jarno Opmeer. Final lap of the race. Best run of the race for the man trying to take second place. He goes tight to the inside. They've both got DRS. The champion is moving up to second position. Jarno Opmeer gets one McLaren. Can he get the other on the final lap?
You could see Burman was struggling for energy right at the end there, and that's probably why McLaren did the swap. Opmeer now has one McLaren left. He can see the flashing light. Blakely's running out of energy as well. The final lap of round 1 of this esports season. He's going to have a couple of DRS stabs.
Okay, he's run out of traditional places, but this is Jarno Opmeer we're talking about. He is a 2-time champion at this level. He wants a third. He wants the three-peat. He's got past one. He held the lead at one point. Barry Burman, he was worried about his pace before. He's got Freddie Rasmussen all over the back of him, on the road at least. We believe that penalty will be applied, but it's half a second. Okay, this is the last time you heard the ping for DRS. Get rid of the last of your battery. Throw it in to turn 11. It's tight for Jarno Opmeer, but Lucas Blakely knows if he can just get through these corners that Barry Burman had a huge moment through, that he should be okay. The McLaren out front is all right, but that was so close to contact at the end. Freddie Rasmussen throwing it forward, but it's all eyes to the front of the field. Lucas Blakely has arrived at the final corner of the last lap, and it's a new season. He's got a new team, but it's the same outcome. Lucas Blakely wins the opening race of the year and takes victory on debut with McLaren. And it's absolutely outstanding stuff as we go across the line. Madness there with the order, but it was Blakely who crossed the line first, then Jarno Opmeer, then Barry Burman as we filter our way through. And something odd has happened on your timing page, but it was definitely the Scot who got to the checkered flag first.
What a drive. What an amazing drive from Lucas Blakely. He'll be so happy with that. I can't wait to see it. Well, I was going to say the passion, but a big bottle of water as well. That was a sweaty race for Lucas. What a drive.
What a contrast to this time last year, where all the relief and all of the emotion poured out of him. This year, the expectation he would be there, and he's won the race. Absolutely outstanding stuff. A brilliant battle at the front of the field all the way through. Jarno Opmeer just missing out at the end there. He managed to get past one McLaren, but not two. And so race 1 belongs to Lucas Blakely.
Unbelievable scenes there. Epic work from Matt Gallagher and Alex Jakes, the longest ever F1 Esports Pro Championship race we've had, a 50% race. It had a bit of everything. As Alex said at one point, nothing happened, then everything happened. It was a brawl at one point. But Nick, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that epic race. And Lucas Blakely, you're a champ.
Yeah, what a fantastic start to the season we've had. Yes, it was a little bit lackluster to start with, but we knew that that was the case. That was the plan. Everyone was trying to save battery, save tyres, save fuel as well at the same time. But didn't it just kick into overdrive? And overdrive it did. Unbelievable stuff. And to see this guy, Lucas Blakely, come out on top, it's been an absolutely amazing situation for him to find himself in, obviously going into McLaren for the first time and doing a win for them.
Yeah, he looks so different to when he won last year in Bahrain to start off the 2021 season. That looked like someone who's just exhausted. You've put everything into that race.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he had it all to lose starting from P1, from pole. And, yeah, I mean, it seemed like it got away from him a little bit towards the end of the race, though, or halfway through, but he picked himself up and did a really good job. And, yeah, you could see he's a little bit tired and having a big swig of water. I'm just thirsty watching him, but, yeah, fantastic job from him and the team.
Yeah, at one point they were saying that running out of energy, that's what the McLaren Shadow team were doing. They were running out of energy. I felt like I'm running out of energy. I feel like a break is coming up, and when we can really get into the analysis and reaction. But I have to say, from my perspective, a rookie started in P2, Thomas Rhonard. I know we can chat in depth, but it was very disappointing for him with a DNF there, Thomas Rhonard.
Yeah, disappointing, but he shouldn't take it away from a fantastic performance for his first debut. Rhonard did a fantastic job all day, I would say, qualifying and into the race. Just a shame that he got caught out with Rasmussen coming back on track. But that's what happens, that's motorsport. But yeah, hopefully he can look back and be proud of what he's done today and, you know, continue for the rest of the season.
I'll tell you what, we're going to have a break. That gives you a chance to get your breath back. When we come back, we'll talk about all of the action we just witnessed on the first race of the 2022 season. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the F1 Pro Championship, where we have just witnessed Lucas Blakely winning the opening race of the season, and what a battle it was. He withstood the challenge from last season's champion, Jarno Opmeer. And Jarno Opmeer finishing in second place, followed by Barry Boremund. 2022 is looking very promising for McLaren. After last season, they only had 2 podiums. This year, they've already matched it, and look at that. That is exactly what it means to the one and only Mr. Lucas Blakely. Nick had everything, and that's what it meant to him. I don't think there was tears. There was just exhaustion of what he was just put through by Jarno Opmeer. And what a battle from Jarno Opmeer as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got Jarno Opmeer breathing down your neck, it's only 4 tenths behind you, going into the last lap of the race. It's going to be a stressful period of time. I wouldn't want to be in his position, but it just showed that Lucas Blakely can withstand the pressure from the likes of Jarno Opmeer, and to come across the line, take 25 points. That's perfect for the start of his campaign.
OK, we call it the key moment. What was the key moment in that race?
I would say that there was multiple moments in the race. The key moment is definitely Jarno losing the lead. It looked like he almost got his strategy to perfection. But this is now Barry Boremund going up the inside of Jarno Opmeer. Jarno Opmeer having to avoiding action, didn't really have the space that he, I would say, wanted at that moment, and then he was pretty much a sitting duck. Now we're going to go on board with Jarno Opmeer. Yep, he's now got McLaren on the inside, not really having any room there, but from Barry Boremund's point of view, does he need to give him room? He would probably say no, and yeah, that meant that it made it very, very difficult for Jarno Opmeer to get the room that he needed, and unfortunately that unravelled for him, and that basically put him under attack from both McLarens. Great racing in all from all drivers. They didn't take each other off. Yes, there was a little bit of a bumping and barging, but that is motorsport. That is how it works. And yeah, Jarno Opmeer managed to still get P2 out of it.
Yeah, and I particularly enjoyed the fact that Nicolas Longuet went out in Q1 earlier in quali today, but pushed from the back of the field up there, going for the strategy, ending on the softs. And the same with Brendan Lee. And you're just seeing that experience and the tactics were coming out. Even in the overtake from Barry and Lucas, they just worked as a team, just at the right time, doing the right thing.
Yeah, obviously this is the first race they've had together as a team, as teammates, and I think they worked absolutely perfectly, almost reminiscent of the Red Bull team a couple of years ago, weren't they, in Austria? So I think it's been a fantastic start for McLaren. Yes, it's great to see Nicolas Longuet come back up the field. Obviously, we know he was out of position after quite a lacklustre performance in qualifying, and obviously Brendan Lee, you can't take it away from him. He's great with his strategies as well, and obviously a well-rounded driver. So great to see them coming through. And yeah, we'll see what they do tomorrow.
OK, and I just will say this, Nick, because I'm looking at my stats. You know I love a stat. I take time and effort in this. 2 podiums last season for McLaren. They've already equalled that. That decision to bring on board Lucas Blakely seems to be working wonders so far.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas can't wish for a better start to the season, and now he's just got to continue that consistency. We knew he had it within him. We saw it last year, and he was able to do it this year as well, which is incredible. And obviously Barry is a very, very fast driver. We wanted him to win, did we? We wanted him to win his first ever F1 Pro Series race. But when you've got the likes of Jarno Opmeer breathing down your neck, and the likes of Lucas Blakely, who are literally at the form or top of their game at the moment, it's going to be hard for him to win his first race. But I reckon that opportunity is going to come at some point in the season.
OK, well, the race had so much action. We saw that. Now we can bring you the final race results, as you can see on the screen in front of you right now. Lucas Blakely finishing in first, Jarno Opmeer followed by Barry Boremund, then Simon Weigang. He has equalled his highest race finish ever in the F1 Esports Pro Championship. He had a 4th Silverstone back in 2020. Freddie Rasmussen back there in 10th after that penalty. Nicolas Longuet finishing in 8th, so great work from those guys. No rookies in the top 10, but it was so close from Thomas Rhonard getting the DHL fastest lap. So Peter Stahelec, his other Haas teammate, down in 17th. But look, it's the first race. We've got 11 more to come your way. Okay, here we go. Thomas Rhonard, he was very unfortunate. Yes, he was a tidy qualifying, just like the backdrop there with his shelves, very neatly folded items of clothing there. But look, I feel he would be frustrated. Damage happens. Freddie Rasmussen went across in front of him. Damage happened, but he was so close to getting in the points on his first ever Pro Championship.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before the break, he's had an amazing first day in the F1 Pro Series. You know, he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, which he couldn't really have dictated himself. He'd made a fantastic switchback trying to judge and decide where to go when it was all kicking off in front of him. And it's just a shame that Freddie Rasmussen was already off the circuit. He drastically came over and obviously took the front wing of Rhonard away, which was really difficult for him. But, he really shouldn't be upset with his performance because it's been absolutely phenomenal for him today. I think a fantastic debut. And yes, he would have definitely got some points on the board. He may have even got a top 3.
Yeah, and he definitely showed us all you need to know about him. I can't wait to watch him in the next one. However, I'm getting that sense of déjà vu. It just feels like 2021 again. I'm, of course, referring to the fact that Lucas Blakely is your winner at Bahrain. Lucas Blakely, congratulations. What is going through your head right now?
Oh man, it's too many things, honestly. And first of all, I just want to say a massive thank you to my team, McLaren Shadow. I mean, it's just been a hell of a journey so far, and all of the support and welcoming me to the team. It's been a genuinely an amazing experience, and I just want to thank them for everything up to this point. And yeah, also just massive shout out to my teammate as well, Barry, because that race was really just a joy. I mean, it was just. I'm done. I'm flat. I have nothing left. Like literally, I had to get out of my rig, and my heart rate was still absolutely, through the roof. And yeah, I'm pretty similar to last year. I'm a bit speechless, but I mean the emotions are very, very different because it was, this was a total team effort to, bring home this result and bring home, really good points at the start of the season for the team. So yeah, I'm a bit lost for words right now, and I haven't had a second to process absolutely anything that happened in that race. It was absolute madness. And yeah, no big. I was more, screaming and shouting after qualifying than I was even after that race because it was so much. So I'm very happy it's over, and yeah, certainly a great way to start the season.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never come across Lucas Blakely, you have now. This is exactly how he is. After a race, you can ask him one question and he gives you all the answers of possible future questions you were about to ask. But we are about to watch the race start again, Lucas. He had pole position. Thomas Rhonard was right behind you. He had a brilliant race until a bit of unfortunate incident with Freddie Rasmussen. But what was the strategy going into this one, Lucas?
So yeah, I mean, in these races, you're very much reacting to what's going on around you. I mean, it's so, the minute one set of cars pit, then you're in the next lap, and then the next lap, and it's just like a constant train of cars. So you've got to be very, very sharp. Strategy. I mean, everyone, I think, was most people were on the hard compound tyre at the beginning of that race. So everyone was sort of on the same Skeletrix track, but then everyone switches on to the next one at a different point. It's it was pretty intense, very, very hard to understand exactly how it would play out, as we saw with Jarno getting the jump, which was something I was kind of fearful of. But yeah, I'm really just glad to at least pull it back from that point. And it was madness. I haven't had a chance to even think about what happened in that, the outlap from the pits. It was chaos. I genuinely cannot process any of it. But yeah, it was. And yeah, touching on the start, it was just, I couldn't have asked for a better start. It was absolutely a dream getaway, so yeah.
Well, listen, Lucas, I cannot wait to chat to you after Imola. Fingers crossed for that one. Rest up. I know the battery is completely flat. Charge yourself, and we will catch up with you tomorrow. But once again, congratulations, Lucas, on being the winner of Bahrain 2022.
Thank you very much for your time, and hope all the fans enjoyed the race. And yeah, look forward to racing again tomorrow. Ciao.
Ciao. He ends with the Italian style, a little bit of ciao. Listen, we need to talk to Matt Gallagher, who's headed over to the section there with the Aramco driver of the day. Brilliant race there, wasn't it, Matt?
Thank you, Dom. Yeah, it was an amazing race. My Aramco driver of the day has to go to Jarno Opmeer. It was close between himself and Lucas Blakely, but Jarno, with that masterclass of strategy, perhaps if he wasn't going up against the two McLarens, he may well have won today, but maybe he didn't know they were all going to go 4 wide and we were going to see chaos. But look at the intensity on his face. Jarno Opmeer still means business and will definitely be a factor for a 3rd world title. And you can see he was straight up to 3rd from the start, which was crucial for him. We could see how difficult it was to get the overtakes done, put himself in prime position, and P2 was a really, really good result for him. Maybe one more lap, he would have had an opportunity on Lucas Blakely. McLaren Shadow did everything they possibly could to try and defend. But yeah, Jarno Opmeer is my Aramco driver of the day, Tom.
Thank you very much, Matt. Epic work from him and Alex as well. Right, that is all we have time for this evening. But remember that we are back tomorrow to bring you all the action from race 2 around Imola with the qualifying show live at 3:30 p.m. Then we are back here for 7:30. And as we're racing at the Autodrome at Enzo and Dino Ferrari, we have got a lot of cool stuff to bring you from Ariana Bravo. Right, we're running out of time. All I need to say is thank you very much for watching. And to the whole team, we will catch you back here tomorrow at 7:30.
A brand new season.
This is spine-tingling. Everyone trying to catch the Opmeer.
It is time for a new season of F1 Esports, and we go racing.
Great start from Opmeer.
Rhonard has had a very good start. And we got passing on the racetrack. It's all going off at once. This is so tight. He's fighting his teammate. He's fighting Rhonard. He's getting through. Barry Burman's going to take the lead of this one. Here we go, Lucas Blakely. Lucas Blakely wins the opening race of the year.